Glorious day to you, my friends. Sihakara niti arhatitaha. Happy Samhain. Hisohutorio totoro. And you already know the title. Soulmate Samhain. Dishkanara hisahayata orototo. Surrender to self and to love. Yes, my odometer triggered at least the meaning behind this. But today is Samhain, Halloween. It's the quarter festival. We're halfway between the fall equinox and the winter solstice. Samhain is the beginning of the quarter of the year, the season of darkness, as some people call it. Maybe we can consider it the season of descending into self. Humans like to call this darkness, this thing that's not a part of us, the thing to avoid. And when we overlay the wheel of the year on top of Samavriti Pranayama, box breath, where we breathe in for a certain count, maybe 4. We hold our breath for a count of the same count, 4. And then we breathe out and simply shine our light for a count of 4. As soon as we're done with that count of 4 and we're ready to hold our breath with 0 air in our lungs, this is the decision point of Samhain, or the decision point to rest in our lotus of awareness. This is the point in a yoga class where we rest in Shavasana. This is the most important part of every yoga class, where we get to spend time with ourselves, not actually doing anything. And in the cycle of life, Samhain represents the death point, where we die, actually. But we're deciding at that point, spiritually, once we leave this earth plane, let's just say. Once we leave this earth plane, we have a decision to make. This decision is, are we going to incarnate again? Where are we going to incarnate? What did we learn from this life that we just passed from? And then how can we integrate that into our whole being? And then when we choose, there's 3 parts to this death situation: integrating the old self, or our experience in this life. Then there's integrating it into everything, evaluating what we did and integrating into the wholeness of self. And then okay, I've decided to live. I've decided to incarnate again. I've decided to do this all over again. But maybe with more wisdom this time. Maybe with some focus. Maybe not. This is where we write our soul contracts during the 3rd phase of Shavasana, or the death, or resting in our lotus of awareness. And when we decide who we want to be in our next life, is the same thing that we're doing in our humanness. When we wake up, we get to decide who we want to be today, in this moment. Do we want to be our true, authentic self, or do we want to continue the same old human person who experiences this rough emotional contrast every single day? What is it that we want to do? Samhain is this choice. It's this choice to descend into the self, to go to winter, prepare for winter, to be at rest, to have our ego die, who we think we are, and who everyone else is trying to push into us as programming. Now we're calling this Soulmate Samhain. Why? The odometer, the trip odometer. See, I forgot to press the trip reset when I filled gas. Okay, but when I do that and I drive off, I take it as a message from Spirit that it's going to serve a purpose one day. Well, today, this morning, at 7:42 a.m., 7, willpower, and alignment, willfully align, 42, from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So willfully align with life, the universe, and everything. So the trip odometer, it's a thumbnail, 666.6 miles. 4 sixes. Okay? And then 137,000 miles and 222. Is it 222? Yes, 222. We got 3 2s. I thought there were 4 2s, but hey. Anyway, 66 and 66. 66 is the master of love, the master of harmony, the master of loving kindness, the master of compassion, the master of joy, the master of the Brahma Vihara, us living in our Brahma Vihara. But there's 2 66s. Soulmates. That feeling that you have, that you've known another person, whether they're part of our soul family or they're a deeper, more intimate connection, this 66 represents this pure love on the inside of us and that connection to that other 66. In this knowing that we've known this person for much longer than the moments that in this human experience. Soulmate. And then 22, the master builder. And then it's 2 people deciding to build this soulmate relationship, to nurture it. Nidi hata atakasha uruhutu uruhutata. How? Not by this is how it's supposed to be. I have this preconceived notion of how this relationship is supposed to be. It's surrendering to self. That's what Samhain is all about. Surrendering to self. Resting in our own true nature. Living, abiding in our Brahma Vihara. Abiding in our lotus of awareness. Iso hatara, kicha anati, utu utu hutahati darataha. There are so many other synchronicities of numbers that us willfully choosing to be awesome and to start now. And it doesn't matter who we were 2 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago. It does not matter. It matters who we choose to be in this moment. This is all that Ashtavakra was trying to say in his Gita, is that we're free when we decide to be free, when we choose to be free. And we're bound when we choose to be bound. And if we're not deciding to be free, we're choosing the opposite, to be bound. And this is 13 was the first number, the devil card, and in tarot. And it shows 2 lovers that appear to be bound in chains to each other. But the chains aren't attached to either of the lovers. They just think they're bound. Once they realize that they're not bound, they're free to love, to be. They're free to live without the restrictions of this 3D universe. That's what being the master of love is all about. That's what being the master builder is all about. This is exactly what your true authentic self is all about. Having the strength for you to be you. And you figuring out how you can be you without anybody else influencing us and telling us how we should be. This inherent love that is inside each and every one of us is the most powerful force in the universe. It is this calming force. It is this patient force. This force. It is a force. It is. It breaks down every immovable object. This irresistible force that makes everything inevitable. Remember that from the other video? Inevitable. When we're aligned with our true authentic self, when we're aligned with our joy, our compassion, our harmony, and our loving kindness, when we're aligned with that, not by trying, but by surrendering to it, just by being happy and choosing happy. Thank you, Heather. By choosing it. When? By choosing it now. By choosing it now. And that helps us be present for whatever the task is that we're doing. Whatever it is. That way we can be focused on the task. Be focused on the relationship. We can be present. We can be presence itself. Sahati, 1031, Halloween. Iskahanata ata hadita. Hutor ushahaya akahatita anaha. Arhutor urhuta saka. So, happy Samhain, my friends. Hopefully, you have the strength to descend into self and to be your true, authentic self, and allowing this true, authentic light, your own light, to shine brightly. Isahanata ata hishohokoro urhataraha.